So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to what I am calling our Christmas extravaganza. It's going to be a two-part video podcast, and we are once again welcoming my good friend, my future periodic co-host, Joefer from the Cranky Old Gay Guy Show. Hey, Joefer, how you doing?
I am doing great, Joey. How are you?
I'm very well. Could you tell
Well,
us a little bit about your channel?
the Cranky Old Gay Guy Show is something that's been around for about a year and a half now. And it is me giving my take on things and what made me cranky that day. I also talk about things that don't make me cranky and just day-to-day life that someone my age in his 60s as a gay man experiences in the world today. I try to stay away from politics, but it's tough because it does seep into every part of my life.
Mm.
And I oftentimes share that with the audience, which pisses a lot of people off. But if I can make them cranky, more power to me.
Wow. Um, so you put out videos almost every day, don't you?
Every day, yeah.
Every day.
Every
Seven
day.
days a week?
Yes, there are probably 5 or 6 times when I just ran out of time. So I just do a little 3 minutes. Sorry, this is what's going on today.
Yep.
So something goes out. And I know I put one out when I was in the hospital earlier this year. I put one out from the ER and from the ICU and from my actual room. Just a short thing every day. So if you want to know what happened to me, go back to the June videos and there's a progression of what's going on and then finally me ending up in the hospital. And it is graphic in some of them, so you will see some scars. I,
Neat.
I have a big hole in my head right here.
Yep.
Yeah, and there's one back here. But you'll actually get to see it right after surgery if you go back and look at the video.
Wow. I will put a link down in, well, I guess I can do show notes on a YouTube video, right? I can put a link, I think. So
Yeah.
I'll put that down there to get to Jofer's YouTube channel, and I highly recommend you check it out because sometimes you are just funny as shit.
Oh, well, thank you, Joey.
And many things I agree with about what you're cranky about. I think we all have those same kind of frustrations at times.
I, I have frustrations every day, Joey. Let me tell you. I'm not going to tell you. Save that for the other show.
Go
Okay.
to the other show. So
Okay.
today we are going to reminisce about TV shows, Christmas TV shows that we would watch when we were young. And this would be in the 60s and 70s,
Mhm.
despite if you go to Jofer's channel and watch where he talks about the upcoming show, he ages me by like 25 years, I swear.
I said the 1950s.
You did say the 1950s, and
That's right.
technically I was born in 58. So maybe in 59 I was somehow seated watching something. One doesn't know.
Right. Well, I was born in 63 and I remember quite a few shows from the 60s.
Hmm.
So
So
I didn't know you were in 58, but I'm guessing those shows were in repeat when you were growing up.
I think the majority, if not all of the things that we're going to talk about, well, not the variety shows, but a lot of the other specials didn't come about until the early 60s,
Right.
like 64, 65. So I was definitely in front of the TV watching that stuff when I was, whatever that is, 8 or 9 years old. So
Yeah.
first up, it
First
gets
up.
a little, isn't it? It gets a little weird. This is the first time we're doing a double video thing here.
Right.
And there's always the slight delay of each of us hearing the other one and then thinking, okay, are they totally done before I start speaking? Otherwise,
Well,
we end up over each other.
it's that, and I want to look at the camera, so I'm looking at you, but I actually want to look over here because this is where I'm seeing you.
Oh,
So I'm looking here, but you're over here.
oh, you just have a single separate camera?
Yeah, my camera is on the computer.
Your camera's on the computer,
Well, it's sitting on the computer. Yeah, it's just hanging over the top of it.
and
So,
you have a separate uh, display. You have
um,
a
well,
monitor.
well, no, the computer's all in one.
Okay,
So there's a camera built into the computer, but I'm not using that one. I'm using an external camera because it's a
gotcha.
better camera.
Okay.
But it's on top, so I'm looking up here, but visually you're on the left side of my screen.
Oh,
So I'm trying to look you in the eye when I'm
oh.
talking, but when I'm doing that, then I'm not looking the audience in the eye.
Yeah, I've got mine right in my
The
computer,
center.
and but I am also going to be looking down and reading my notes and stuff. So don't worry if we're not staring at each other
Oh, I'm
every
telling you,
second.
I just want to come out great for the audience. That's what I'm doing.
You've
I mean,
already,
I went through Verbo and I booked this great chalet in this wonderful snowy Christmas village that you can see behind me.
it's
And
very nice.
it is. And I brought my coat and everything because I wanted this to be a special occasion, just like a 1960s or 1970s television special.
So Jofer is out freezing his ass off to
Oh my
record with
God.
this gorgeous scenic background you can see for
Uh,
miles.
hmm.
It's awesome. I've got
It
an
is.
indoor setting, unfortunately, but
Mhm. You know,
what are you
it's
going
your
to
East
do?
Coast. Your East Coast. What are you going to do?
East Coast, East Coast,
Yeah,
West Coast rap challenge.
that's right.
Okay, so let's start out with probably what is regarded as the ultimate Christmas special, especially appealed to kids. It started in the 1960s, and that is Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, which I have assumed that you have seen.
I have seen it many a time, and I tried to rewatch it this year to be prepared, but all I could find were truncated episodes. They
Yeah.
weren't the full thing. They were chopped up, and certain parts were missing.
Hmm.
But I'm familiar with the parts that are missing, and just not in great detail right now.
Okay. Um, was this one of your favorites growing up?
Growing up, it was. There were maybe five or six Christmas cartoons that everyone looked forward to. They usually only aired once. A couple of them would air like on a Sunday night and then again on a Thursday night or Wednesday night the following week, and then they'd just be gone for the next year.
Yeah.
And if you did watch them, then when you go to school and your friends talk about them, it's like, oh, well, I feel left out. So
Yeah.
everyone tried to watch these shows.
I was like many gay people, I was bullied as a kid quite a bit. And because of that, I'm very sensitive about when I would see certain things on TV when I was a kid. And the fact that the other reindeer would be mean to Rudolph
Hmm.
kind of gave me like PTSD about my own circumstances at school. And I would avoid seeing those scenes because they were so upsetting to me.
See, I didn't get PTSD, but I did relate to Rudolph. I
Mhm.
wasn't growing up as a little kid, I wasn't harassed so much in school. I was harassed by my siblings. I have three older brothers and an older sister and a younger sister. And everyone who was older than me, other than my older sister, pretty much picked on me. I was very tiny and scrawny and a sissy. So yeah, I got the wrath of it. That kind of stuff didn't really happen to me in school until high school.
Oh,
Yeah. And then
which,
it was just like my junior and senior year because they were friends of my brother who went to school there and he had a lot of dick friends.
mm,
Yeah.
oh, that's
And
too
it was a
bad.
small town. Small town, you know everybody.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But the majority of Rudolph, I thought, was a very uplifting show. There
Mhm.
are some facts that I kind of pulled out of some videos I was watching. Now, going to assume for a moment that the majority of our listeners have seen Rudolph, and maybe you've seen it as many times as we have.
Well, you don't want to
But
give any spoilers, Joey.
oh, yeah,
Yeah.
right, because it's only been 60 years or so, right?
Yeah, that's about it.
Um, I will tell you that the ending had to be changed. At one point, it was done where once they loaded up Santa's sleigh and Rudolph did his nose thing and they started flying through the air, that was the conclusion of it. And when they would screen it for audiences to get their reactions, a lot of people were saying, "Well, what the fuck? It's been more than 7 seconds. What
Yeah,
the
it's okay.
fuck happened to the damn misfit toys on that island? Santa Claus has just taken off and screw them." So literally, they went back to the animators and say, "We have to delay. You have to come up with this where he stops on the island and gets the toys." And so that was actually changed in order to appease the groups that were giving their reactions to it.
My reaction to that is the version I just saw cuts out the entire island thing. It's not even in it. And when I went online to find out what happened to it, they did say that Rudolph and the Misfit Island or whatever is its own show. So I think it might have been part of the original, and then they chopped it into pieces and added some stuff.
Oh, wow. You
But I
saw it
couldn't find, I couldn't find, this was on YouTube.
on
I
YouTube.
couldn't
Yeah.
that chopped out section in its own show. I found trailers for it, but I didn't find the actual show.
Interesting. Okay. But so they were cutting it out and saying it was its own show.
Well, they gave it a new title, and it was called Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, and something on Misfit Island.
Okay.
Because in the truncated version that I saw, the the prissy kid who wants to be a dentist, he was part of it, but we
Right.
never really got to go to Misfit Island. But I do remember seeing a whole bunch of Misfit Island in the past.
Yeah. Yeah, there was definitely when Rudolph was on an ice floating iceberg, that's how he ended up there, and he had to go before the king, which was a lion, and get his way back. And yeah, it was so much a part of what was originally done that it totally would have seemed like a big dick move for Santa to just ignore them. It would make that whole section pointless,
Mhm.
you know?
I agree with you.
Rudolph was voiced by a woman.
Hmm.
It wasn't I always thought it was a little boy, but it would make sense it's a woman. Many people may not know that Bart Simpson on The Simpsons is voiced by a woman.
That's right, Nancy
So,
Cartwright.
Na- is that
I think
who it
it's
is?
Nancy. I think it's Nancy. Yeah, it's
Okay.
not. It's not the one from Lost in Space.
No,
That's Angela. That's Angela Cartwright.
right. It's her sister, Veronica.
I don't even
Veronica?
think they're. I don't think they're related. Nancy
Oh,
Cartwright is in her late 50s now, mid
oh, I see.
50s.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, she used to be
Okay.
on a show called Herman's Head. She was a very non-beautiful woman who was like his assistant.
Hmm.
That's where I first saw her. It's the only thing I've ever seen her in, other than The Simpsons. But that's definitely her voice.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Glasses to read my notes.
Well, we were talking
That's,
about the voicing of a woman
yes,
for Rudolph.
yes.
Um, Something I found, which I found in everything I reviewed, was that even Rudolph pushed the heteronormative ism on kids. Because there's a girl reindeer that Rudolph, she's hitting on him the whole time. And it's like, wouldn't it be interesting if they found out that Rudolph was actually a chick? Because she was voiced by a chick. There's the gays
Whoa,
hiding.
that's the woke version that you
That's
just
right.
know everyone would love to see. Yeah, Clarice. But, were Clarice not in it, they would have to get someone else, probably with not as beautiful a singing voice, to sing the best song in the whole show, which is There's Always Tomorrow.
Well, and Clarice was a hot reindeer too.
Oh, see, that kind of went over my head, but I suppose if you're Into Reindeer. Yes, she would
Well,
be
it's
adorable.
that, and it's a coming of age story because Rudolph is obviously like a teenager.
Uh-huh.
That was my take on it. His size and the fact that he talks like this and he's so shy and afraid of everything. It's like he hasn't come out of the closet yet as straight or as gay.
Yeah. Yeah. That's interesting.
This is
Um,
what you see when you look back in time to a different era, but you interpret things on today's social whatever.
that's a very valid point. If it came out this year, it had never been seen before, and which is the case of a lot of what we're going to talk about. People would be
Right.
up in arms, like, make him more masculine. He should know how to play reindeer games right out of the gate. Um, in the final scene, when
Mm-hmm.
after I guess, as he's going to Misfit Island, and then as he leaves Misfit Island, if you count the reindeer, including, well, Rudolph is separate, the main reindeer, there's only six rather than
Okay.
eight. And so you always wonder, where did these other two go? I'm not sure when they were loading up at Santa's place. The sleigh kind of is, I think, indoors, and they throw all the bags on it. I never looked at how many reindeer might have been lined up at that time. But once they're flying, it limits it to six reindeer plus Rudolph.
I did not see that scene. Not recently. The truncated version ends with them in Santa's house, and they bring in the giant
Yeah.
because he had a toothache that's been repaired, so now he's cool. And he joins in their celebration, and Mrs. Claus comes down the stairs, and they just have a big singing thing, and it's over.
Wow. Do
Yeah.
you know why the angel is on top of the Christmas tree?
Um, I know that the giant put it up there, but I don't
Mhm.
know why.
Well, it started several years before Rudolph, and it was Santa was in a very grumpy mood. Things weren't working out. His elves were behind schedule making toys, so he was really, really just pissed off. And suddenly the door opened, and an angel was dragging in the Christmas tree, going, "Hey, Santa, Santa, where should I put the Christmas tree?"
You're gonna say up the. This is a
That's
dad joke. I get it now. Okay.
that's for you to interpret on your own. There was a song in the original production that Hermie sang with Rudolph, and it was "We're a Couple of Misfits,"
Mhm.
which then they led to the Island of Misfit Toys. It worked out
And
really well.
Hermie is the kid that wants to be a dentist.
Correct. He's the elf that doesn't want to make toys. You don't want to make toys. So
You did that really well. You should do cartoons.
but that song, "We're a Couple of Misfits," was changed, and it now has a song called "Fame and Fortune." And
Hmm.
why they would have replaced it with that, or why they even replaced it in the first place, I'm not sure, because the other one seemed to fit a lot better.
Does the Fame and Fortune song have the same lyrics, or has that changed too?
I don't know. I think it's changed. I'm pretty sure.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It was more about, what Rudolph and Herbie wanted. They wanted, to be, well, I don't know why they say fame, but they wanted to find their fortune and be self-sufficient and uh, buddies together. A couple of misfits just really made sense to the whole thing. But, hmm.
I'll give you that. They wanted to be
and,
buddies. I get that too.
and Jesus.
Oh boy. We have
Oh,
a Bert and Ernie situation going on here.
yeah, maybe we do. I'm going to be smiling so much during this show. The name is Hermy, Hermy, not Herbie. as a
I
lot of
thought it
people.
was Herme, like Herme.
Isn't that a bag?
Yeah, it's
Purse?
definitely a brand name. Yeah, that's
Uh,
what it made me think of. I didn't
huh.
see it in the credits, so I'm not sure.
I will say they made a point of saying it was Hermie, not Herbie, but it was spoken. And
Hmm.
I wrote Hermy, so it could actually be my fault that I'm telling you that. It might have been Hermie, which would make
That's
sense.
possible too. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And we all make mistakes, even me.
No.
Yeah, believe it or not.
Oh,
Mm.
that's what editing's all for. And the final point I'll make about Rudolph is it was a stop motion filming, which means
Hmm.
there were physical toys looking like that.
Right.
And every time one of them moved, even just a fraction, it meant stopping, setting the toys, filming again.
Hmm.
And
Right.
so his nose, when it glowed, there was no such thing as CGI or anything back then.
That's
It
right.
was
You had to put in a
actually
glowing nose.
it was a 12-volt light bulb that was in the nose of that little toy. And they
Hmm.
recently found, I guess there were several Rudolphs, because they'll do that in case something happens to stuff. But
Hmm.
one Rudolph and one, I think it was the big snow beast, were discovered in some lady's attic because her husband used to work in animation at one of the studios that did this, and she acquired
Hmm.
those, and they're worth like a freaking fortune. But
Uh, I I agree. I agree. I used to work for Leica, which is a stop motion movie studio. I worked in facilities, so I was not one of the puppeteers. But all those little stop motion things are called puppets.
uh-huh.
And every puppet, there's multiple puppets in case something happens to one. When it comes to faces, they'll have faces and then they'll have several different jaws they pop in and out. Same with the eyes, same with the nose. It's very time consuming and they might get 7 seconds in a day of shooting kind of thing.
Yeah.
And they have big sets in a big warehouse, and they have lots and lots of people running in and making little moves and little changes. And I can only imagine how long it took to make the Rudolph whole Christmas special in the 60s. Because
Yeah.
currently, like it, they use 3D printers. So they set it up and then they get all the pieces and then they just have to paint. So they're not fabricating. I mean, they're fabricating from scratch, but they're not fabricating in that we have to make 12 clay dolls that look exactly the same. Instead, they're generated and then they just pop them together and they pull the jaw out and put the jaw in, and it really speeds things up. Now,
The
as far as
the
the
jaw
lines,
change is so that they could speak,
yes,
correct?
so they can
Okay.
speak or blink their eyes or pull their nose or whatever they want to do. Um, and then the lines that show, sometimes they'll leave them because it's showing an animated puppet. And other
Uh-huh.
times they have CG artists who spend months, scene by scene, painting over on a digital, just painting over those lines so they don't show.
Wow.
Yeah, it's very time consuming. Very.
Everything they used in filming these kinds of things, though, were miniatures, right? They
Yes.
weren't.
Yeah.
Why do you think they wouldn't have just full size and film it bigger? Is it because of the expense of building full
It's going to be
size?
expensive and you'd have to have full sets.
Mm.
You could do an entire Christmas village, on a 10-foot round table with your miniatures moving around, as opposed to creating a huge Christmas village with life-size puppets.
Oh yeah,
And it would be really, really expensive to do it that way.
yeah, yeah. Plus, they'd have to build so many scenes because it does change.
Well,
Um,
that, and you'd have to have each puppet to move them around, you're probably going to have strings as opposed to just wires that bend because they would be a lot heavier than they are when they're little babies.
oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
So it was a marvel of its day. and
Hmm.
it still looks better than a lot of the stuff I see now.
Yeah, they don't really do stop motion much anymore, right?
Well, the studio that I worked at, they're still doing it.
Oh, yeah.
Um, but a lot of things now, especially with I can make something look stop motion just by plugging it into an AI video thing and say, take this scene and make it a stop motion with characters that look like they're from The Simpsons or something like that.
Oh,
And
interesting.
then everyone in this show or everyone in that scene will be stylized to look like a Simpsons character and they'll move like stop motion.
That's
I don't pay for
fantastic.
those services, so I'm not doing that, but I have seen the demos. There's quite a few AIs on the market now that do that.
Interesting.
People aren't really making stop motion because they want to create something that looks real.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, AI is changing the world.
And
Changing the
on
world.
yesterday's show on my channel, I did talk about that. Uh, AI boyfriends in particular and falling in love with AI. So I use AI every day. That's why
I
I'm getting
have
on
to
this.
watch that.
Well, it's just me talking about AI.
Yeah.
And it's AI boyfriend versus, true love. So it's that.
Which some people think is true love, but yes.
Which
Back
is
to
what I cover. I cover that, yeah.
Charlie Brown Schultz.
Okay.
Can't think of his first
Right.
name. What's his first name?
Charles.
Charles Schultz.
Charles M. Schultz.
That
Uh,
was the creator and
he was the
the comic
cartoonist.
strips, cartoons, right?
Yeah.
He
The
was the
Phoenix cartoon.
animator on that, and he did not. Wait a minute. No, it's asking me
Now,
if I.
everyone look at Joey's eyes right now. That's because he
Why?
took his glasses off.
No, it. Yeah, I know. It was trying to sell me something right in the middle of our screen.
Oh, okay.
Anyway,
So everyone, we're using the free version of Zoom.
we are, and they're not happy about it. But Charles Schultz did not want the Peanuts to be done as a motion cartoon. He was completely against it, and he was also completely against the music that was being put into it. But they did a presentation for him of a segment showing their movements and showing the songs that will be played. And he was on board after he saw that. In fact, over the years, as people watched it and loved it so much, um, it became even more of a thing for him.
Well, with Charlie Brown Christmas, it is something that I look forward to every year, even though I prefer the Charlie Brown Halloween thing and the Charlie Brown Thanksgiving thing, because I think it's because they're much less religious. The Charlie Brown Christmas throws a lot of Christianity into it, and not being a religious person, it just bores me. When Linus goes off on a diatribe about, Jesus's birth date and the three wise men, it's just I roll my eyes and go, oh, how did I sit through this as a kid? Well, because that's what you heard everywhere was the whole Christian story.
Sure.
Um, Now, as an adult, since I don't follow that, I just find it trite. And in today's world, this would have to be sold as a Christian television special and probably play on a Christian station if you created something like this today, because you'd have to take all of that out because the public wouldn't be willing to see it. Now, there is a population that would, and I mean, that's great. But as far as a network putting something like that out now, they'll play the rerun because it's historical and it's a favorite. But they wouldn't create something like that now, I don't think, and put out. Charlie Brown Christmas special, for those of you who don't know, Charlie Brown is this miserably depressed child whose parents just go, rah, 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 rah. That's what you just hear. You never hear an adult talk. And it seems that the kids, wherever he lives, I don't even know what city he lives in,
I don't know.
but they run amok and they're their own little society, kind of like Lord of the Flies, but not as vicious. Well, there are some vicious takedowns, but they're not like physically vicious. Um, so Charlie Brown's really depressed, and his friend Lucy, who, by the way, if you read the Peanuts strip or comic strip, she is notorious for setting him up for falls, where she'll have him try to kick a football, and then she pulls the football back. He falls on his back, hits his head, and she laughs. She's also the therapist on the show who charges all the kids a nickel to ask her a question and give her advice. So she's an entrepreneur, but she's also kind of a bee. Okay. So Charlie Brown's depressed, and she suggests that he direct a Christmas play to make him feel better. Well, he's reluctant, but he decides to go ahead and do it. And they're at the auditorium, and Linus is playing his Peanuts special. He's got a little mini piano he plays, and it's always the same song. However, on the Christmas special, he does play a Christmas number. For some reason, as the director, all the kids say, Charlie Brown, it's your responsibility to buy a Christmas tree to have at the pageant. So they send him out. Linus goes with him. Linus, his little buddy, who always carries a blanket and sucks his thumb. And they go to a Christmas tree lot, and Lucy made it very clear that she wants an aluminum tree. They really emphasized having a metal tree, like that was a big thing in the 1960s. Everyone had to have a metal tree. And it had to be pink with red. So they go out, they find some trees. Yeah, that would be nice. But then Charlie Brown sees this stick on a stick. It's all drooped over. It's one branch with two little arms. And it looks like someone had cut part of a tree limb off a pine tree or a fir tree and then put a nail in the bottom of it to stick it to a wooden cross on the ground. And yeah, it does look like a pathetic little tree. But Charlie Brown falls in love with it because it's an outcast and he feels he's an outcast, so they're meant to be together. He takes it back to the pageant or the play, the auditorium. All the kids make fun of him and call him a loser because he picked such an ugly tree and didn't follow the directions. So he grabs the tree and he runs home. Linus follows him. When he gets home, he sees his dog Snoopy is on his doghouse, and the doghouse is all decked out in Christmas decoration of lights. And he also won first prize for the Christmas decoration contest because evidently there was one. And that makes Charlie Brown feel even worse that even his dog is more successful than him. Well, all the kids follow him home. They see how miserable he is. So they go over to Snoopy's doghouse. They crowd around it and they all go blah, 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 blah. It's just a big cloud. And then that cloud moves over and surrounds this little stick of a tree. And then when they expose the tree, it's a beautiful Christmas tree decorated and it's wonderful. And they all say, Charlie Brown, you're not such a screw up. Look at this. It is a beautiful tree after all. And then they sing, I think, Oh, Come All Ye Faithful or something.
I think it's Hark the Angels, isn't it? Hark the Angels sing.
And it's one of those
Good
religious
swan.
things.
It is. It's something
Yeah,
that's religious.
it was like the nativity scene, kind of, but not.
Yeah.
That they raised parts of it, but I didn't really see anyone dressed in the nativity stuff. But Linus had the blanket over his head, like maybe, I don't know. To me, that currently is a super turnoff. I know back in the day I really liked it, but then again, it was a cartoon and I was really into cartoons. When I was looking for this special online, I did find something called Charlie Brown Christmas Reanimated. I don't know if you're familiar with that,
Oh,
but someone took the audio soundtrack from this show and they sent out segments of it to like 200 different artists, and each artist interpreted that scene and then sent them back. They're all in like a Google Docs file.
oh,
And then someone put all of those in order together. So scene by scene, this cartoon is done, but it's reanimated by different creators for each little scene. And the graphics are horrible. I mean, Charlie
really?
Brown is
Oh,
tall and he's got a square head. And then in another scene, he's short and fat. Linus is the same way. If you just listen to it, you wouldn't even know there was any changes. But if you watch it, you're like, whoa, I thought this was the Charlie Brown special. This isn't the original. And at the end, when they redecorate the tree, when they zoom out, it goes into a heavy metal number, like death metal. And you see Snoopy on a cross like this. and that's the tree, and they're all saying how wonderful it is. And then the heavy metal kicks in, and there's like a tornado thing, and a spiral comes up out of the ground with this evil devil face, and then suddenly it's a beautiful tree. So someone was playing with it. I don't know which artist that was, and I thought this is really odd. So I went to the link that's in the description, which takes you to the Google Docs, and then I clicked on several of the different links in there to see why this was so weird. And it is because each link is a different artist, and they were allowed to interpret the scene that they were given any way that they wanted to.
Interesting. Wow.
On
To
a
have
different this,
kind of like
it's on you.
a demon came up and then the demon changed into a Christmas tree.
Movie being crucified. That was the tree.
That's
And,
crazy.
and the audio didn't change, so it's like no one seems to even notice. And then the audio, someone moved in a heavy metal, death metal song, and that's when this big spiral screw thing came out of the ground with a devil face going, blah, 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 whatever the death metal song was. And then suddenly, boom, it's a beautiful Christmas tree and everything's back to you.
So one more point I wanted to make about Charlie Brown is that Christmas tree that you were just talking about. When Charlie Brown finds it in the lot and then he brings it to the stage of the Christmas show,
Mm-hmm.
and then later it's near Snoopy's house so that they could take the decorations and decorate it. If you watch closely, the number of branches changes because I always thought it was weird that this sad little tree, you take a whole bunch of ornaments off and lights, and you somehow decorate like you said, a stem and two branches, but it
Mm-hmm.
turns into this gorgeous thing. Well, it actually had at least a few more branches. If you look when he hangs a single ornament on it, it already has a
True.
little bit more sprouting
Mm-hmm.
before it falls over
Droops over.
from the weight. So if it fell over from the weight of one ornament being put on it, how the hell did they put all these lights and all of that stuff?
I think
Even
it's called the magic of animation. It's a
e-
Christmas miracle, Joey.
even as a child, I questioned it. And to this day, I will question ridiculous things like that. And my husband Paco will look at me and go, "It's a TV show, Joey. It doesn't have to be everything exactly right."
Well, and when I was in grade school, we were given instruction. This was like kindergarten or first grade to draw a tree. So, and we had to cut out pieces of paper to stick on it to make it look like a tree. So I made a trunk and I made this big, like cloud looking thing out of the green paper and I glued it on top of it. And I said I was done. And the teacher said, "That's not a tree. You need to put individual leaves on the whole thing, like all the other kids are doing." Well, that was not the instruction. And that's not how I saw the tree, because I saw the tree much like the Charlie Brown Christmas tree. It's just a big one thing. Just so, I mean, I get where you're coming from on that, but I also get where Paco's coming from because it is a cartoon. And that's how I questioned it when I first saw it. It's like, how do they do that? And then after this teacher had called me out on this, it was like, well, that's how they do it. She's wrong and I'm right.
Yeah.
End of
Did you
story.
did you
It's,
end up putting leaves on it to appease the teacher?
I had to, yes. I had she made me get rid of the big green cloud, which to me that's what a tree is.
Mhm.
And I had to make little leaves and stick on there. Now, whatever happened to that piece of art, I don't think it was finished. Art class was only for like 20 minutes or something. So
Uh,
it's
and
first grade.
then the next day you found yourself in special needs ed.
Well, actually, we didn't have that kind of thing in my grade school
Oh,
because this was the 60s.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, as far as Charlie Brown goes, that's pretty much all I have to say on it. Is that again, I enjoyed it as a child, but I don't see a child enjoying it now because there are many, many more options.
Yes.
And I was familiar with it from the cartoon in the newspaper
Uh-huh.
because that's back when we had newspapers. And as far as I know, Kids don't even read comic books anymore, yet alone a newspaper.
Yeah, everything's online. Yeah, I think that most kids, it's older animation. It's not that 3D computer generated animation that's used now. And I can see them getting very bored with it very quickly. Hmm. What are you
Yep.
going to do? Okay, let's move on to the next show, which is How the Grinch Stole Christmas. And we're not going to be talking about the Jim Carrey movie. We're going to
Thank you.
talk about,
Thank you.
I
Uh,
liked it though. I did like it, but that's not what we're talking about. We're going to talk about the TV show from the 1960s. It came about, look, I have notes and look what I'm going to do. Just so, oh my God, I can see my notes. It came about in 1966. And the reason I hear myself echoing.
you're
No?
fine.
Okay. Um, the reason that the Grinch was first created was Dr. Seuss's wife was very ill at that time. And he did not feel like decorating for Christmas, and everybody saying happy holidays and Merry Christmas. And he didn't want any of that because he was kind of depressed because his wife was so sick. And that's how he created the Grinch originally. What do you think about the Grinch cartoon?
Well, again, I liked it at the time. Once I reached like middle school and it would come on, my little sister would want to watch it or something. And I did not like it. I didn't like the music. It was so repetitious. Every song is pretty much the same with different words. Da 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 da. And it's all rhymey, 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 rhymey. And after I'd hear it once and it would go into another one, I couldn't take it. I like the nation. Uh, the whole story about that Whoville and all that.
Yeah.
I did. There was a spin-off later in the 70s. I think it was the 70s. And it was about the little girl in Whoville,
Cindy Lou Who.
Cindy Lou Who in Whoville. And I watched it and I thought, yeah, I don't need to see this again. So
Was that a
looking back,
cartoon?
it was a cartoon. Yeah. It was another Christmas thing.
And this was like when she grew up and became a hooker and got hooked
No,
on
no, she was
drugs or something.
still Little Windy. Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah. It was
interesting.
just, I think it's because the show had been on for 5 or 6 years, the regular one.
Yeah.
And then they came out with a sequel because now they can have, rather than that half-hour block, they'll have an hour block of TV.
Yeah. That makes
It,
sense.
it, I don't think it was made as well as the first one. And I think it was strictly so they could sell more ad time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And what
Do,
did you think of the show?
I guess it was
Boil that
oh,
dust speck for me, Joey. Boil that dust speck.
do what?
Boil that dust speck.
I have no idea what that means. Is that some weird
That's the part. Yeah, because the
Oregon thing?
Whoville, yeah, it's Whoville exists on a piece of dust.
Oh,
That's the whole thing. And it's like the Grinch is going to boil the dust. I don't understand it myself because you see him in Whoville, but then later on he's trying to destroy Whoville.
yeah, he was pretty much a
But
C
it's this.
word there.
I believe it's the same show. I didn't watch it this year, but there was no song called "Boil That Dust Speck."
I have no idea. Not that I can recall.
Okay, well,
Wow.
go ahead and continue, and I'm going to
You're
just
going
see
to
if I can.
find out. Well,
I'm going to see if I
Dr. Seuss, like you, hated the songs and wanted them removed. I don't mind You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch. The one that bothers me is when Whoville all holds hands and goes back and forth. They're in a
can.
big
It's
circle.
it's
Haru,
Hooray,
hare, haru,
hooray,
kare.
welcome, welcome, Christmas Day. Yeah, something like
Yeah,
that.
that was a great song. But after he heard them and saw it in its completion, he was like, yeah, okay.
Oh, the dust speck. I was mistaken. It's from Dr. Seuss's Horton Hears a Who
Oh,
because he hears a who in Whoville because
oh,
this he's hearing
Whoville
this little piece
is,
of dust.
yeah.
Yeah, and Whoville exists on a piece of dust, and Horton is an elephant, and Horton hears this, and the villain in that show isn't Dr. Seuss. I don't know who it is, but they're gonna drop this dust speck into a boiling pot.
Jesus, that's
Yeah.
rough.
Yeah. Hmm. And then
Wow.
that was from 1970. Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
So I had it. Dr. Seuss was right. I just had the shows mixed up.
I didn't know that Whoville existed. I mean, I never read Dr. Seuss's books. I didn't know it existed outside of the Grinch in
Well,
other
I'm guessing
stories.
then the Grinch is in. He's on a piece of dust too. Then.
I would think, right?
Yeah,
Sure. Yeah.
that would be my guess. And he was a Grinch because he hated Christmas, so he stole your packages. He's like the porch pirates of today. In fact, I think that you know how these ring cams are always capturing people stealing packages.
Uh-huh.
Whoever's stealing it should be dressed as the Grinch with the mask and everything. That would be cool.
They'd probably have a better chance of getting away with it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, why not?
Yeah. You know, Boris Karloff was the narrator in
Mhm.
How the Grinch Stole Christmas. However, even though it sounds like it, Boris Karloff did not sing You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch. They found someone that would sound very similar to him and had him do it. Max the dog was
Mhm.
almost cut out by the studio because the studio was like, why is this stupid dog in it? But he was necessary because he was the Grinch's conscience.
Right. He
He,
was also the conscience that was tormented by the Grinch.
very true. Yes.
Yeah.
The poor thing was trying to pull this sleigh of all of these toys weighing it down. And at one point, the sled's going so fast that the dog slides underneath it and gets up on the back. And when the Grinch turns around, the dog's like, yes, the poor dog.
So refresh my memory and the audience. How did the Grinch's heart melt? Was it because of Wendy?
Let me look at my notes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I don't know. I have nothing about that.
Because I thought that's how the whole show is resolved, is because his heart melts and then he becomes nice.
His heart becomes three times the size.
Hmm.
And I think probably Cindy Lou had a lot to do with why that
Because
was
I'm
occurring.
calling her Wendy. I'm sorry, Cindy. Cindy Lou from
Hmm,
Who, Bill.
hmm.
I was thinking it was melting because I thought I remember there was an ice thing and it goes crack and explodes. Big, big heart.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. They served roast beast,
Mhm.
Beast, for their sit-down dinner, of which the Grinch was invited to participate. And that was actually done because it was based on that famous Norman Rockwell Thanksgiving illustration of the
Mhm.
family sitting around a table and the grandmother has a turkey she's about to put down. That's where he kind of came out with this roast beast idea. There was a planned sequel, but Dr. Seuss refused to do it. He
Mhm.
had final say on that. Uh, Boris Karloff did the narrator storyteller voiceover, but he refused to be the voice of the Grinch. He didn't want that tied to him personally. Cindy Lou for the television show, the television cartoon, was aged up for the interactions with the Grinch. I guess originally in the book, and again, I haven't read it, she
Mhm.
was even smaller.
Mhm.
And the last point I'll make about this was there's a lost ending where the Grinch stays on the mountain and waves to Cindy Lou, but he doesn't participate in their sit-down dinner. They
Mhm.
scrapped that and decided to change the ending,
Trying to make him nice.
trying to make him nice, yeah.
Yeah.
kind of a redemption story.
Yeah, I wish they could do that for Jim Carrey.
I suppose we should touch on that. I thought that was good. You didn't like it.
I thought that visually it was good,
Yeah.
but I can only take 5 minutes of Jim Carrey and his rubber face in anything that he's in. He just, something about him makes me just seize up inside, like, ugh, ugh. Something about him really ticks me off. I
Wow.
don't know what it is.
Hmm.
I've seen him in interviews and when he's just Jim Carrey talking, but once he gets into his shtick, it's like, okay, I can't do this anymore. And
Hmm.
when he's acting like as the Grinch or in The Mask, it's shtick 24/7. And yeah, it's the same with the Ace Ventura movies. I don't think it's funny just because he can stretch his face out and it's
Yeah.
that's not humor.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, it's humor. It's just not funny. Put it that way.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm not knocking him. He's a good actor.
I
I would rather have seen him in something dramatic that wasn't physical pratfall kind of stuff.
I mean, considering he doesn't speak, I don't think, right? Does he speak? I don't think so.
You know, I've only seen it once, and that was the last time I saw it.
Because
So,
I mean, with Jim Carrey has the Grinch done with prosthetics and lots of makeup and everything. And so you could almost, because if he doesn't speak, you could almost put any
any
actor
actor,
into
right?
that. I think they might have only had Jim Carrey because he was a big name and he was going to draw people in to watch it.
Hmm.
But you wouldn't.
Um, yeah, it's not going to draw me in. I see him now occasionally online. He's much older and he's got, the gray beard and all that.
Yeah,
And I guess he's painting now.
yeah,
I haven't seen his work, but the stuff I see him online is when he's giving political comments. And I agree with him on most of what he's talking about. So, I mean, I
yeah,
don't hate the guy. I just can't watch him when he's doing a comedic thing because I have this visceral reaction to it that is not good.
yeah. He does pretty good with dramatic roles. And I forgot what I was going to say about that. Oh well.
Oh,
Um,
well.
oh, I know. So when he is himself and he's done interviews and he's done, there's some videos on YouTube where he's speaking at commencements and he's very intelligent, very philosophical. I am always impressed by his views on things, much more than his acting and comedy part. Well, let's move on to the next one. Jofer, take us away.
Okay, the next one we've got Santa Claus is Coming to Town. It's a 1970 animated cartoon, and it's also stop motion. It is voiced or introduced and voiced by a little puppet man that looks like Fred Astaire and is voiced by Fred Astaire, and he sings a couple times in it. It's very well made, I thought, and I think that it's a story about a baby that is abandoned at the Burgermeister Meisterburger's place, and that is like the mayor of this town. And he doesn't want the baby, so he says, take it to an orphanage. And his right hand man takes it out, ends up losing it in a snowstorm. It's in a little sleigh. It slides down a hill. He loses it. So the animals in the forest find the baby and take it to this place they know where these elves live that make toys. And they take the child in, which is weird, not because they're taking in, because all the elves are boys. That's the weird part. And then
Oh,
there's the taunt. They call her Tanta, 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 Tanta. Anyway, it's the woman of the house, and they raise this child as their own. And I will tell you that they call him Chris. Why do they call him Chris? That's a good question. Um, they are called Kringles. The mother of the house is called Tanta Kringle. So they're calling him Chris. Again, I'm not sure why, but he becomes Chris Kringle. And actually, that's not true. Kringle is a badge, a little necklace that was left on him as a baby.
mm,
That whoever left him, that must be his first or last name. but they start calling him Chris Kringle. And when he became an adult, I got to tell you, Chris was one hot looking puppet.
Mm.
He was like a young Lee Majors. He was, I mean, if I was into puppets, I would pick Chris.
If I was into
I,
puppets.
I would. He was hot. And when the story is that the Burgermeister Meisterburger tripped on a toy falling down the stairs, hurt his foot, people laughed. He was really upset. He banned all toys in this village. So the kids can have none. The Kringles, who are in on the other side of this forest, who make all the toys, they can't give the toys to anyone because the only people that they know about are on the other side of the forest. And there is this wizard that rules the forest, this giant wizard that will not allow anyone into his forest. So everyone's scared to go into the woods. So Chris decides he's an adult now and he's going to take these kids some toys because they've got too many toys. They got to get rid of them somewhere. And he hikes it through the woods. And on his way, he runs into a penguin. Penguin, you're lost. You're at the wrong pole. So he comes up with a name for the penguin because all the penguin can do is like honk, 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 honk. And he calls him Topper. So Topper is now his traveling companion. They go into the woods. The wizard sees them and says, "What are you doing in my woods? Get out. I didn't give you permission." They ignore him and continue to the town. They get to the town. Chris comes in and starts giving out toys. People say, "Oh, you know, the kids want them." The school teacher of the town comes over and says, "Chris, you can't do this. It's illegal." And her name is Jessica. She's a young school teacher and she's hot too. And of course, she's got eyes for Chris because he is a rebel bringing the children toys.
Mm.
So she's against it until he gives her a toy. And then, oh, she's instantly in love with him. Isn't that special? And
What he
Chris
did,
ends,
like a vibrator or something?
no, I think it was what it was. It's either a doll or a snow globe.
Mm,
Yeah, it wasn't that kind of an adult cartoon there, Joey.
I guess.
He ends up leaving town, goes back to get more toys. The wizard is pissed. That's right, the wizard is upset. There's a confrontation. Something about the wizard, they end up warming the wizard's heart. His heart melts too. And suddenly he's a nice guy and he's going to let him go through the woods. Chris goes back, gets more toys. He comes back to deliver again. He gets arrested. His family come to rescue him. They get arrested. The wizard is arrested. And Jessica comes to the prison and she's like, "Oh, Chris, I'll do anything to get you out of here. Blah, 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 blah. We'll try something." Somehow, who is it? I think she's the one that convinces the wizard to concentrate and get his magic back. He's saying, "I can't do it. You know, now that I'm human-esque, I've lost all my powers." But she somehow convinces him, and suddenly he's got some powers again. Oh, and he has some magic beans in his pocket, which he gives to her to give to the reindeer because it's going to make them fly. That's why reindeers fly, because they ate magic beans. They fly them all out of the prison and they escape. Well, the Burgermeister Meisterburger is furious. And who wouldn't be, right? Kids have toys. His prisoners have escaped. He is ticked off. So back on the other side of the forest, when they're escaping, him and Jessica, by the way, end up getting married. That's right. She flees town with them and says, "You know, Chris, I'd go anywhere with you." And then the wizard decides to marry them, but not until they have an appropriate Christmas setting. So he goes, shh, and the forest is all lit up with trees and ornaments and all this. And then there's like a 3 or 4 minute
Which
diatribe
is
about,
why like this cartoon kind of gave explanations for why things are the way they are, why he's named Kris Kringle, da, 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 and why why we decorate trees was because of Kris Kringle and Jessica's wedding that
right.
they decorated all the trees.
That's right. They did, and they did say it on this holiest of nights. So they didn't, and I think they actually said when Jesus was born.
Oh,
I think it was there because it was very religious. And then there's a montage of just background music and them looking in each other's eyes, and then they finally kiss. Woo. It was so steamy. Uh, Chris decides later on that it's too hard for him to go back continuously to this town, so he's going to do it just once a year. By this time, him and Jessica are married. They both become very fat, both of them. It's like, Chris, what happened to you? And you got to watch it. You got to stay active. But that didn't happen. The Burgermeister Meisterburger came looking for them. They all moved to the North Pole because they knew he couldn't find him there. Eventually, he passes on, and the town realizes that it was a stupid rule about toys, and now they're going to allow toys back. There are some
Including vibrators.
including vibrators, as long as they have a smiley face on them, because it
Got
has to be a
it.
positive. Uh, let's see. That's right. And Santa and his wife, I did say they get fat and become unrecognizable. That's right. They have the same eyes. That's about all they have. Um, there are some memorable songs I remember to this day from that show. And plus, I just watched it like a week ago. Put one foot in front of the other, and soon you'll be walking out the door. So that's been around. It's a difficult responsibility. These are all songs that I remember from childhood that, although they were from the show, I could see them, Julie Andrews singing them too. Penguin's called Topper. The wizard is not a wizard. He's a warlock. He's the winter warlock of this forest. I even put on a thing that Jessica came on fast because she did. And once he gave her that toy, she was just like, she was on it.
Because it was a vibrator. Jeez.
Well, she wanted Chris to be her vibrator. What it was.
Yeah.
Looking back, there was too much religion for me in this show. And it was, again, heteronormative, showing kids that to be happy, you have to hook up with the opposite sex. Which, I mean, it says nice stop motion work because I think it was really good. And it's a show that didn't drive me crazy. There was one song, and it's The Difficult Responsibility, that's sung by two or three different characters in the show. So it gets tiresome because you think it's over, and then they jump over and it's a different character singing the same song in a different location. And it's like, oh, I understand tying scenes together, but let's not do it this way.
Mm.
As far as ratings, I would say it's easily in the top 3 Christmas specials for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's about all I got on that. And you?
I do like it. I don't watch it anymore, but I remember as a kid being very much into it because of the explanations for why things are done, which of course is not why things are really done. I mean, we don't decorate trees because Santa got married in a forest. There's many other reasons why we do things. But for me at that time, it was at least some explanation for some of the Christmas traditions. And I was really on board with that.
Okay.
And Chris was hot. Then he became a bear. Not the
Yeah,
bears aren't
well, he
hot.
didn't
I
become
didn't
a
say
bear.
bears aren't hot.
He didn't become a bear. He became a polar bear.
Ooh,
A
the
big
most
polar bear.
dangerous kind.
Yeah, actually, very
Yeah.
much so. And he probably had gout and arthritis and everything because he just wasn't taking care of himself. And Jessica,
Jeez.
she didn't take care of herself either, man. Once they got together, she let herself go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm. Okay, well, let's move on to the next one because this is the one I have waited for. This is the one that when I first came up with the idea of us doing the show, this is the one that I really wanted to do. And that is A Christmas Carol. And there's absolutely no reason why every single person that is watching this video or listening to it on a podcast has not seen some version of A Christmas Carol, because literally almost every show in existence did some episode that was a take on A Christmas Carol.
Even
Uh,
sitcoms.
yeah, even sitcoms. Yeah. And yeah, they would have different characters playing the different parts in A Christmas Carol. The story is my favorite story ever. It's a story of redemption, and that's one of the things that I have always loved. And I will tell you that every version of A Christmas Carol that I have watched, there are many movies over the years. As we said, there are many TV shows that incorporated it into an episode. Every single one, bar none, I cry like a baby. And
Hmm.
it's that redemption thing. There was a Doctor Who episode about where they did it, and it was so beautifully done. Again, tears every single time. My favorite of all of the versions of A Christmas Carol is a 1970 version called Scrooge, and it was a musical. And the songs are great. In fact, one of them, Thank You Very Much, just about everyone has heard at some point. The musical version stars Albert Finney as Scrooge. And when they do a flashback of when he was a younger man and engaged, it was Albert Finney without his makeup and prosthetics. He was kind of a handsome guy, but it was the same actor that when they did him up as old, it was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I remember when I first learned that he was the guy in the flashbacks doing it, I was amazed that they could pull that off with makeup, and his voice and everything made him an old man. Loved it. And the best memory I have of Scrooge is in 1970, I was in seventh grade, and I had a teacher named Diane Regan who was in her 20s, and she arranged a field trip for her whole class. It was an English class. And we went to a cinema to see Scrooge. And she had talked about it beforehand and got us all excited to see it. And it was amazing. And I loved that so much that the book that I wrote called Northridge High Football Camp, the first one, I dedicated that book to her. And only about maybe 2 years ago, through a friend, I found her online and I sent her an email saying, hey, I don't know if you remember me, but I had been writing like a novel back then, even though I was like 12 years old. And she took her time, her private time, not school time, but her private time to read my manuscript and make corrections and comments in it. And so when I sent her this email, I said, I don't know if you remember me, but I was writing this book and you helped me with it. And we went to see Scrooge. And she absolutely did remember me. So I told her I dedicated Northridge High football camp to her. And she's like, oh, that's wonderful. I'm going to order a copy of it on Amazon right today. And I'm like, no,
No.
explanation point. I said, please, please do not ever read this book. I sent her a photo of the cover and I sent her a photo of the dedication page. And I'm like, just be happy with these two things. Please do not read my book. You'll never speak to me again.
Well, I haven't read your book, but I did watch you or listen to you read it. Um, I didn't think it was overly gay.
Not overly gay, but there was a lot of locker room kind of talk
Yeah.
about dicks and balls and I mean just all
And
that
body
shit.
hair and jacking off and yeah.
Yeah. Um,
All that good stuff that just makes life worth living.
Absolutely. I
Absolutely.
can't imagine life without it. And as I age, I fear that there will be a time in my life that might be without it. But um, so what did you think of a Christmas Carol? Do you like it? What's your favorite
Well,
version?
I think I watched the Albert Finney version, but I think I probably fell asleep because it was on at 9 o'clock at night or something back in the
Okay.
day.
Yeah.
I remember cartoon versions of it more than one. Um, I know the one that's probably stands out the most is because of the illustration. And did you see the movie Heavy Metal? It was a cartoon in the
I did not.
70s.
No.
It was set to heavy metal rock music, and it was a lot of like robotic women dancing and fighting and that kind of stuff.
Mm.
Um, but the illustration was very what we would call now graphic novel illustrations. And that's the way that the version I saw of Christmas Carol was. The story itself, I mean, I've done the play, I've seen the play. I think I was in the play in grade school. Um, I think I was a ghost. I don't know which one. I don't remember, but I do remember doing it, and I know the story. As far as TV version, I think Patrick Stewart was the Grinch in one of the most recent ones, and
Scrooge, not the Grinch.
Scrooge. I'm not the Grinch. We're a Christmas Carol, so Scrooge. But yeah, I liked that version. And then I've seen some British versions online that were really slow, but they were good. And they used the really bad special effects like they used on the old Doctor Who's,
Mm.
where they would just kind of fog an image and have someone standing there. Uh, but it was very well acted. It was by Elizabethan actors. Um, I don't really have a favorite version. I remember bits and parts of a lot of them, but and I know the story. But yeah, I don't have a favorite. Probably one of the live action.
Yeah.
I prefer that over the older ones. Because the cartoons, they were not smooth transitions. I mean, mouths don't match up with the words. They bodies are stiff. They jump around like a comic book does. It wasn't mentally cohesive to me.
Okay.
It's redemption, yeah. I mean,
Mm.
I would fall asleep thinking, "Oh, am I gonna hear see the ghost of Christmas past tonight?"
Yeah.
It didn't. It didn't happen.
When I cried was always when he woke up after all of the visits and finds out it's still Christmas Day and all of that. That's tears begin every freaking time. I cannot control it. Um, some of the more popular versions, live action ones, were Alistair Sim from, I think, 1940s. There was one. George C. Scott did one that was supposedly fairly good. The Patrick Stewart one I have not seen yet. I do have it on my list of things I do want to see. And there is a modern cartoon that was maybe 15 years, maybe 20 years ago. And I think Scrooge is voiced by Jim Carrey. I think.
Oh boy, I'm gonna have to put that on my list of
We have
not to
less
see.
we have less than a minute. One more
Okay.
time.
Um, I'm gonna have to put that on my list of things not to see.
Oh my God. Poor Jim
So
Carrey.
I'm gonna do a little bit of magic here at my end, and I'm gonna just snap my fingers and change locations.
Oh, okay. For the next segment.
Yeah, so I'm gonna snap my fingers when we come back.